The waters of Loch Ness have always held an unusual silence, a silence that seems to breathe with the fog that rolls over its dark surface each morning. The Scottish Highlands are already a land of myths, where ancient stones, mist-filled valleys, and centuries-old folklore shape the imagination of anyone who walks through them. Yet Loch Ness stands apart. It is not just a beautiful lake surrounded by ancient hills. It has become one of the most mysterious places on the planet, a symbol of the unknown, the unexplained, and the possibility that something ancient and extraordinary may still exist beyond the boundaries of modern science. The legend of the Loch Ness Monster is more than a story. It is a cultural phenomenon that has survived for nearly a century and continues to fascinate millions around the world. For most people, Nessie is a curious mystery, a fun legend to talk about, a story that fills books and documentaries. But for others, especially those who live near the loch, the phenomenon is far more personal. They speak of sightings passed down through generations, of fishermen who swore they saw a giant creature break the surface, of tourists whose photographs seem to show a long neck rising from the water, casting a shadow against the grey Scottish sky. Even skeptics admit that something about the loch seems unusually alive, as if an ancient presence lies just beneath the waves, hidden from view, but waiting to reveal itself at the right moment. The earliest accounts of a strange creature in the Highlands go back centuries, long before cameras or newspapers or the modern idea of tourism. Some of the oldest Scottish legends speak of water spirits, serpents, and mysterious beasts that inhabited rivers and lakes. The Celtic people, who once dominated this region, believed in supernatural beings that lived in the water, often dangerous or protective, depending on the legend. One such creature, the water horse or kelpie, was said to lure people into lakes and drown them. It may seem unrelated to the modern idea of Nessie, but folklore often evolves, and ancient stories may reflect real sightings or interpretations of something unusual that people could not explain. The legend, however, truly entered global attention in the 20th century. The year was 1933, when reports of a strange, enormous animal living in Loch Ness began filling newspapers. A local couple claimed they saw something moving in the water, something large enough to cause waves despite the lake being calm. Their description ignited international curiosity. Soon afterward, other witnesses came forward, describing a creature unlike anything known to science. Long, dark, and serpentine, sometimes with humps, sometimes with what looked like a neck emerging from the waves. Journalists flocked to the region, scientists speculated, and tourists arrived from across Britain hoping to catch a glimpse of the creature. In 1934, the legend reached a turning point with what is now called the surgeon's photograph. The image, supposedly taken by a respected London surgeon, appeared in major newspapers and seemed to show the long neck and head of a mysterious animal rising from Loch Ness. For decades, it became the most famous photograph of Nessie, a visual symbol of the creature's existence that spread across the world. It inspired serious investigations, documentaries, and even scientific expeditions. Although the photo was later revealed to be a hoax, the impact was irreversible. The world had already become captivated by the idea that a prehistoric creature might still be alive in a deep Scottish lake. Unlike many lakes, Loch Ness is exceptionally deep and dark. It reaches depths of more than 200 meters in some places, making it deeper than most coastal waters. Scientists have noted that visibility in the loch is extremely poor due to peat contamination from the surrounding hills, which means sunlight barely penetrates the water. The result is a shadowy abyss where anything could hide, making it nearly impossible to see the bottom or detect large animals without advanced technology. Combine this with the loch's narrow shape and winding geography, and it becomes a perfect hiding place for something elusive. If a large, intelligent creature wanted to avoid humans, Loch Ness would be an ideal habitat. Over the years, researchers have proposed various scientific explanations for Nessie. Some believe the creature could be a surviving plesiosaur, a marine reptile from the time of the dinosaurs. They argue that the shape described by eyewitnesses resembles the long neck and body of this prehistoric animal. Others suggest the creature might be a large sturgeon, a species known to grow several meters long and to live in deep waters. There are also theories involving giant eels, massive catfish, or unknown species that have evolved in isolation over millions of years. Each theory brings its own mixture of plausibility and mystery, leaving room for speculation and debate. However, skeptics argue that Nessie is simply a legend created by misidentifications, floating logs, wind patterns, or even playful hoaxes. They point out that human perception is often unreliable, especially in dim light or from long distances. A wave reflection can look like a hump, a group of birds can appear like a creature, and natural phenomena can easily be interpreted as something supernatural. They also note that decades of research, sonar scans, and scientific investigations have failed to provide definitive evidence of a large animal living in the loch. According to them, the legend survives not because of proof, but because of human fascination with mysteries. Yet despite the skepticism, the story continues to grow. In the 1950s and 1960s, serious scientific expeditions were launched, using sonar equipment to scan the depths of Loch Ness. Some of these investigations detected unusual underwater movements or large objects that could not be identified. The most famous of these was the 1968 sonar survey that recorded a strange, moving shape deep beneath the surface. Though inconclusive, the data kept the mystery alive and inspired further research. In the 1970s, a major photographic expedition attempted to capture clear images of the creature using underwater cameras. One photograph appeared to show the flippers of a large animal resembling a plesiosaur. Although the authenticity of these images has been debated for decades, they remain part of the extensive visual archive that fuels belief in Nessie. Further sonar investigations throughout the 1980s and 1990s also produced ambiguous results. Shapes, large underwater shadows, and unexpected movements that no scientist has fully explained. Modern research has introduced new technologies to the search. Drones, satellite mapping, and deep-water scanning have revealed more details about the structure of Loch Ness than ever before. Recently, environmental DNA analysis, testing the water for genetic traces of species, has been used in the loch. This advanced method identified numerous fish species, including eel DNA, but found no traces of reptiles or large mammals. Some researchers interpreted this as evidence that Nessie might be a giant eel, something previously suggested in local folklore. Others argue that environmental DNA cannot conclusively rule out unknown species, especially if those species are rare or elusive. What is undeniable is that the legend of the Loch Ness Monster has become more than a simple story. It has become an economic force. Loch Ness attracts millions of tourists every year, generating significant income for local communities. Hotels, tours, museums, and souvenir shops all benefit from the ongoing fascination with Nessie. Some critics claim the legend is maintained for financial gain, while others believe that the myth existed long before tourism and will continue long after. Nessie has become a symbol of Scotland itself, as iconic as castles or whiskey, and its cultural value extends far beyond scientific inquiry. Psychologists have also studied the phenomenon, suggesting that the human mind is naturally drawn to mysteries and unknown possibilities.
The idea that prehistoric creatures survived extinction appeals to a deep curiosity about the ancient world and the possibility that we have not explored everything. Loch Ness, with its misty landscape and dramatic atmosphere, reinforces this feeling. The mind sees the water, the fog, the vastness, and imagines what might be hidden beneath the surface. Belief in Nessie, then, is partly belief in the unknown, a reminder that the world remains far more mysterious than we often think.
Some locals speak of sightings with sincerity, recalling moments when the calm surface suddenly broke into waves or when a dark shape moved silently across the water. These testimonies, though difficult to verify, carry a certain authenticity because they come from people who have lived near the loch all their lives. They know the water, the weather, the wildlife. When they say they saw something unusual, they speak not from imagination, but from experience. Many do not claim it was a monster, only that it was something unknown, something they had never seen before.
Tourists, too, bring stories. Some capture strange shapes in photographs, while others simply describe a feeling, a sense that the loch is alive, watching, hiding something. Even those who come skeptical sometimes leave with a changed perspective, not because they saw the creature, but because something about the loch feels different, as if the legend itself influences the atmosphere. Nessie, in this sense, is not just a creature, but a presence woven into the landscape.
Scientists remain divided. Some argue passionately that the loch is capable of sustaining a large creature, citing the amount of fish and the depth of the waters. Others insist that no ecosystem of that size could support a species of giant animals without leaving clear biological evidence. Yet science, like everything else, evolves. Species once believed extinct have been rediscovered. Giant squids, long thought to be mythical, were eventually photographed alive. The coelacanth, a prehistoric fish believed extinct for 65 million years, was found living in modern oceans. These discoveries do not prove Nessie exists, but they remind us that nature still contains surprises. The question, then, is not only whether the Loch Ness Monster is real, but what the legend represents. It represents the human desire to believe in something extraordinary, something that challenges our understanding of the natural world. It represents the imagination and the longing for mystery in a world increasingly explained by science and technology. Nessie symbolizes the possibility that there are still secrets worth exploring, that the world remains full of wonder.
For many believers, the lack of proof is part of the fascination. If Nessie were proven real and fully documented, some of the magic might disappear. The legend would transform into a biological fact, interesting, but no longer mysterious. In a strange way, the uncertainty is what keeps the legend alive. The possibility fuels imagination far more than certainty ever could. At the heart of the myth lies a deeper idea, the idea that humanity has not yet discovered everything. In a world where technology gives us instant answers, where satellites map the entire planet, where information flows constantly, it is comforting to think that something still eludes us, something ancient, something powerful, something unknown. Nessie represents that unknown. She challenges us to look beyond what we think we know, to accept that the world may hold more secrets than we imagine. When evening falls over Loch Ness and the mist rises once more, the water turns almost black, reflecting the fading light of the sky. The silence becomes profound, and the surface seems motionless, as if waiting. In those quiet moments, it is easy to understand why people believe. The loch feels timeless, untouched by the modern world, connected, somehow, to a distant past when giant creatures ruled the earth.
Whether or not Nessie exists, the legend brings us closer to that ancient memory, a memory shared by humanity across cultures and generations. So the next time someone asks whether the Loch Ness Monster is real, the answer may depend not on evidence, but on imagination. Some will say it is only a legend, a creation of photography tricks and human curiosity. Others will insist that something extraordinary swims beneath the dark waters, waiting to be discovered. But perhaps the most meaningful answer is this: Nessie lives wherever mystery exists. She lives in the depths of Loch Ness, but also in the hearts of those who believe in the unexplained.
For as long as people stand on the shore and look out across the water, wondering what lies beneath, the legend will continue. It may change, evolve, and adapt with each new generation, but it will never truly disappear. Because Nessie is more than a creature. She is a symbol of mystery, a reminder that the world still holds secrets, and perhaps, just perhaps, one of those secrets is swimming silently in the depths of Loch Ness right now.